Okay, so you know how it is, you're curious, you want to really understand something, but wading through all the information out there can feel like a full-time job.
Yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes.
That's what we're all about here. Welcome to the deep dive, your, let's say, shortcut to getting genuinely well-informed. We take the sources you've sent our way and, well, pull out the crucial
The
insights.
surprising details, maybe.
Exactly, the moments that make everything click.
And today, we're plunging into a real piece of history, 1,000 Ways to Make Money.
Mm.
And this isn't just some dusty old book. It's an incredibly ambitious collection of ideas for, well, generating income. It covers everything from getting a job to starting your own venture.
Making things at home, inventions.
Even writing. It's really broad.
Exactly. The author's aim was pretty clear: to provide 1,000 nails to hang your fortune on. That's the quote, right?
That's one. Quite evocative.
So our mission for you today is to explore this huge array of suggestions and extract the most surprising, insightful, and, practically useful takeaways.
Kind of distilling over 1,000 ideas into maybe the core principles that might still resonate today.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, so the book kicks off with chapter 1, focusing on finding a place, which essentially means securing employment.
Right.
What's interesting right away is the emphasis on actively seeking opportunities rather than just, waiting around.
Right. And
Yeah.
the advice is phrased in such a memorable way. You've got the secret of work, which sounds quite profound, nature's furrow, maybe hinting at finding your niche, the prismatic brain, which I think means being adaptable and clear.
Yeah, sort of multifaceted and transparent.
And then the very direct, the bridled tongue, basically, don't badmouth your boss. What's the underlying principle here?
Well, it seems to point to the idea that success in employment, even back then, wasn't just about showing up. It was about understanding your value
Uh-huh.
and maintaining, professional conduct. That prismatic brain idea speaks to versatility, which is still super valuable today, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And here's a claim that really jumps out. The book suggests there were numerous $5,000 a year positions in New York just waiting
Wow.
for people with good ideas and a strong work ethic. That sounds like, well, a lot of money for the time.
It certainly was. $5,000 a year represented a very comfortable living back then.
So was the book realistic about who could actually get those jobs, or maybe a bit optimistic?
Well, it probably presents a, let's say, hopeful view, but the core message about employers valuing skill and reliability, that rings true.
Yeah.
The author basically argues that for the right candidate, salary becomes kind of secondary. It suggests that, demonstrable value trumps just asking for more money.
That's a fascinating point. Integrity, strong work ethic, seems those were key assets then.
Definitely.
And you'd struggle to argue they're less important now. Okay, so chapter 2 shifts to starting in business. And the advice here feels, well, surprisingly modern.
It really does, doesn't it? The book stresses moving beyond just like wishing for luck.
Right.
It highlights crucial things like assessing if there's actual demand, market research,
Uh-huh.
establishing a clear presence, consistently offering desirable goods, and making sure things look attractive. Presentation matters.
So it's not just having a good idea, it's doing the groundwork.
Exactly. Thoughtful preparation.
The book emphasizes figuring out what percentage of the local population you need as customers to actually make it work, moving from vague hopes to actual numbers.
Yeah, proper planning.
But one recommendation that really stands out is the house-to-house canvas. What was the thinking there? Sounds intense.
Well, it was basically a very direct form of local marketing.
Uh-huh.
Think targeted door-to-door sales, maybe.
Okay.
The idea was to personally introduce your business, explain what you offer, maybe give samples. It was all about building direct relationships and getting immediate interest.
That personal touch seems almost radical in our digital age,
It does. Makes you wonder what the modern version is. Maybe hyper-local social media plus genuine community stuff.
Maybe.
And when discussing the choice location, the book offers a slightly counterintuitive idea. It doesn't have to be the fanciest, most central spot.
Oh.
What mattered more was consistent foot traffic, just a place where people naturally walked by. So prioritizing visibility over, say, prestige.
That makes sense. Even today, right?
Right.
A less glamorous spot with loads of people walking past can beat a prime location that's dead.
Absolutely. And then there's the personal equation, the idea that the owner's personality really impacts the business. How does that translate now?
Good question.
It really underscores the importance of customer service, building rapport, In an age of chatbots and automated everything,
Yeah.
a positive, engaging personality can still be a huge advantage for a business owner. Think of those local shopkeepers everyone loves.
True. That connection. So whether you're thinking of starting something or just, figuring out why some businesses thrive, these early chapters have some timeless stuff.
Definitely.
Now, chapter 3, Money and Trade, gets into some really specific and sometimes quite quirky ideas.
Oh, this chapter is fun. It's full of creative promotional tactics, like the interlined advertisement, suggesting a single bold line within a regular news article.
Ah, to grab attention, like the original clickbait.
Kind of a low-tech way to stand out.
And then the picturesque name, the power of a catchy, memorable business name, like the Beehive or the Bonanza. Basic branding, really.
Exactly. Makes it easier for people to remember and recommend you.
What else?
Well, the promotional ideas get pretty inventive. The pictorial rec suggests using imaginative, maybe even funny, illustrations in ads.
Yeah.
Red Letter Day is just a special sale. Class discount targets specific groups. And I find the honest flaw really interesting.
How does that work?
Basically, you point out a minor imperfection, offer transparency, and maybe a small discount. Turns a negative into a sort of positive.
Huh. That's a refreshing approach, and some of the customer engagement things are brilliant in their simplicity. The dial dollars.
Yeah, like a dial in your store. And when a customer's total spending hits a certain number, they win something. Gamification, way back when.
And the first customer package, a freebie for the first person through the door each morning. Simple, but effective.
These are like early versions of loyalty programs in CRM, right? Long before fancy tech.
Totally.
Best Reason Prize and Birthday Calendar are clearly predecessors to modern marketing campaigns. And think about the conspicuous price list or the early discount ways to manage crowds and maybe smooth out busy times.
It's like a peek into the brainstorming sessions of early marketing. Even the book gift-giving cheap leaflets to Sunday schools to get your name seen by families.
Targeted marketing.
It shows a real understanding of how to attract and keep customers, not just funny historical footnotes.
Definitely. Now we turn to Chapter 4, Money in the Home Store, exploring the idea of running a business right from home.
Okay.
The book really emphasizes the potential to maximize profits by, handling different stages yourself, making it, wholesaling it, selling it.
Cutting out the middleman. What does that tell us about the entrepreneurial spirit back then?
It highlights a real resourcefulness, I think, a desire for self-sufficiency. Imagine turning your front room into a veritable store with hardly any starting cash.
Yeah. And the sheer variety of product ideas in this chapter is incredible. It starts with household plants, like crystallized grasses.
Right. And then tea dishes, which surprisingly isn't just teacups. It includes stuff like prepared ham and even a recipe for artificial honey.
Artificial honey, really?
Yeah, sugar, water, a bit of real bees honey, peppermint extract. The idea was probably providing convenient household goods.
Wow, okay. And then we get into pastry with detailed instructions for angel cake, soft gingerbread, donuts. It's like a historical home ec class.
It really is. The sweetmeats and confectionery section follows that, with specific recipes for things like walnut candy and chocolate caramels, even telling you how to test if the caramel is hard enough. The level of detail is pretty amazing for a general guide like this.
Absolutely. And it keeps going. Preserves, pickles, and jellies. Recipes for apple jelly, brandied peaches, even pickled nasturtiums.
Pickled nasturtiums.
Okay.
It shows the skills and resources people had or were expected to develop at home.
Definitely. Then toilet articles, a glimpse into personal care back then. Recipes for perfumes, cologne, face powder.
Lip salve, tooth powder, furniture cream, leather polish, like a DIY beauty and home care manual.
It's wild. And let's not skip soaps and starches with recipes for starch, hard soap, even a French toilet soap called Savon de Monde.
Right, using things like French suet.
Yeah.
Gives you a real feel for the time.
Then there's dairy and other farm produce, selling butter, maybe coloring it with carrot juice.
Fresh eggs with a sign saying eggs laid yesterday.
Love that. Honey, cheese, pork, poultry. If you had access to this stuff, your home could be a serious economic engine.
And for gardeners, garden vegetables, selling produce, even school supplies with ideas for making book covers from old paper bags.
Shows real ingenuity using whatever was available.
And finally, Christmas presents. Handcrafted things like sofa pillows, jewel trays. It even estimates crafting times for bookmarks. Very practical.
So the key takeaway here is the profit potential, right?
Yeah.
Cutting out middlemen, The book mentions, what, 500% profit on perfumed starch?
Exactly. It really underscores the economic possibility of these home businesses.
Okay, let's move to chapter 7, which focuses specifically on money for women. This gives a fascinating look at the opportunities envisioned for women back then. What strikes you?
Just the sheer breadth of ideas, really. It's quite remarkable. Everything from running a school store near schools
Right.
or a light lunch business near offices, apparently, with a 100% profit margin, which sounds nice,
Very appealing.
to providing services like hairdressing from home or secretarial work, maybe using YWCA training.
We also see suggestions using more traditional domestic skills, errand running, shopping for others, mending dresses, handling lace.
Mhm.
But it also includes more academic things like tutoring or providing school lunches. It definitely challenges any simple idea of limited roles for women.
Exactly. The list includes creative stuff like making home ornaments and the slightly unexpected one of collecting doubtful debts.
Way that.
The book suggests women's perseverance makes them good at it. There are even more unconventional ideas, like being a lady barber or selling mineral collections for
So
school.
Lady Barber.
And it goes further, becoming perfume and complexion experts, running women's hotels, being shopping guides.
Wow.
It even mentions things like bicycle instruction, which was becoming popular alongside running a cooking school or a boarding house.
The list just keeps going. Pen engraving, ladies' restaurants, starting a woman's newspaper.
Uh-huh. Opportunities as advertising agents, working in the civil service. You can see horizons expanding.
It paints a real picture. And more specialized roles, too. Postprandial classes like after-dinner instruction, becoming druggists, almanac makers, lecturers, magazine contributors, even physicians. It shows a growing recognition of women's capabilities in lots of fields.
And the entrepreneurial spirit is strong. Paper box making, horticulture, being vocalists, packing trunks, costume design, opening an express office.
It's a real testament to the diverse ways women were thinking about earning a living.
It's almost exhaustive. Fancy bakeries, grocers, dealing in food and medicine samples, being a woman beautifier.
A what?
A woman beautifier, also running a manicure parlor, offering massage treatments, highlights that growing service economy where women were seen as key.
It culminates with even more niche things. Ice cream parlors, selling flower packets, lady caterers, making delicacies for invalids.
Selling insect powder, yeast cakes, physical culture instruction, house cleaning, selling oysters, a pie cart.
A pie cart, selling men's neckties, being a dancing teacher, haberdasher, even a lady architect, or running a lost and found agency.
It's an incredible snapshot, isn't it?
What's the main message you take from that chapter?
I think it underscores that even with the societal limits of the time, there was this strong current of female ambition, a recognition of women's diverse skills and economic potential.
Absolutely. Now, the book then digs into other specific niches, often around clever inventions or using overlooked resources. Chapters like money in the bedroom, cellar, library. What's the common thread?
These sections really focus on solving everyday annoyances, improving home life through ingenious inventions.
Like?
Well, in Money in the Bedroom, you get ideas for a noiseless clock, a narcotic pillow, or even an anti-snorer device.
Huh. An anti-snorer, addressing common problems.
Exactly. And in the cellar chapter, things like a furnace feeder or a stove ash sifter, practical stuff to make chores easier.
The library schoolroom part suggests useful items like a paper binder or a portable library.
There's even a section on making people honest with ideas like an unalterable check or an umbrella lock.
Little inventions for everyday frustrations and security. It's fascinating what people were trying to solve back then.
Yeah. And it looks at travelers' needs, too. Adjustable trunks, hollow canes, and personal care, curling iron attachments, mirror hairbrushes.
Even amusements get a look in, with a ducking stool and a bicycle boat. It really shows the breadth of the author's thinking. Real ingenuity.
Then, shifting to a larger scale, the book discusses industries like newspapers, cloth, fertilizers, advertising. What's notable here?
Well, it shows an expansion from individual home-based stuff to more organized industrial opportunities.
Right.
For newspapers, it talks about journalistic integrity, community engagement, publishing readers' letters. For cloth, it touches on new tech like artificial silk.
And there's a forward-thinking bit about making money from fertilizers using waste products, early sustainability awareness. And the advertising section suggests some truly novel, maybe slightly eccentric methods like stereoscope slides or even staging street brawls to get attention.
Staging street brawls. Seriously.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Shows how marketing was evolving, I guess.
Okay, next. Money in natural forces, minerals, and inventions. This explores using nature's power and human innovation. Key takeaways.
It discusses harnessing sea waves and artesian wells for cheap power. Feels very relevant now with renewable energy, right?
Yeah, surprisingly so.
Also, opportunities in mining new materials like aluminum.
And to show the potential for big money and big losses, it tells the story of the Pennsylvania oil wells.
Right, the boom and bust. It then highlights big inventors. McCormick, Goodyear, Howe, Whitney. Innovation seen as a major path to wealth.
Which leads to this fascinating list of needed inventions.
Yeah, everything from bike accessories to building gadgets trying to solve common household problems. Many still resonate, highlighting enduring challenges. It's all about spotting unmet needs.
The book then broadens out again, amusements, farming, literature. What's interesting about this mix?
It shows income opportunities exist across a huge spectrum of activities. Amusements covers popular lectures, theater. Farming suggests specialized crops, livestock, not just basics.
And literature emphasizes the power of stories and information, suggests accessible book ideas, even aiming for the next big social commentary like Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Right. It underscores that creativity and knowledge can be really valuable assets.
Then we circle back to finance revisiting newspapers, then money and speculation, and where to invest money.
Yeah, acknowledging potential gains, but also, crucially, warning about the risks of speculation.
But the investment advice gives a more solid look at opportunities, utilities, financial institutions, industrial stocks, real estate. The mention of specific dividend rates in Brooklyn gives a real snapshot of the investment scene then.
It does. Finally, the book gets into more accessible, maybe unusual income streams. Money and spare time, odds and ends, strange ways. What's the message here?
I think it highlights generating income through small, consistent efforts, or by using niche skills others might overlook.
That money and spare time idea, just a few minutes a day to learn a skill, feels very current with our focus on continuous learning. And the Strange Ways chapter shows real ingenuity, specialized experts, detectives, traveling poets, even dealing in old coins or offering the gold cure for alcoholism.
The gold cure.
Yeah, seems it was a thing. It underscores that there are often unconventional paths to making money.
The book wraps up by looking at highly paying occupations, electrical experts, railroad presidents, lawyers with astonishing fees.
Right. It ends on that optimistic note, reinforcing the core belief that financial success is possible for, well, pretty much anyone who tries.
So as we finish our deep dive into 1,000 ways to make money, it's clear this isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a fascinating window into the entrepreneurial spirit, isn't it?
Definitely. And the evolving landscape of economic opportunity back then.
Absolutely. And for you, listening in, someone keen to gain knowledge and those valuable insights, we hope this exploration has maybe offered a fresh perspective on resourcefulness.
And the enduring quest for, financial independence.
This deep dive leaves us with a thought. Which of these historical ideas, maybe with a modern update, could spark your own entrepreneurial thinking today?
Or what does this huge catalog really reveal about that timeless human drive to create value and generate income?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About the core principles. Identify needs, find creative solutions. Principles that seem just as relevant now as they were whenever this book was first written.